Childish here. Today we're on another plateau of learning to draw the human figure. Now we've moved on, and we're going into a more more detailed three-dimensional session. I'm going to ask you to draw a real person. I hope that you've got somebody living in your house who you can draw, and if you haven't, you can use a mirror, but it's much best. I'd draw yourself, but it's much better to draw the real person and not an image on a glass, on a mirror, or a TV screen, or a photograph. Those are two-dimensional, and you can only see two-dimensionality. You can't see the three-dimension, which is what I want to do today. I want to zoom in on 3 dimensions. I'd like to introduce you to Boxi. Boxi is a figure made of paper and string, and he's made, or she's made, she's so that the legs and arms are suggested by the cones and the string, and the important head, chest, and hips are made out of, they're not exactly boxes, but they're paper shaped into boxy shapes. And so these are cones. They're wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. So that's 2 for each arm and 2 for each leg. And the width at the top is where most of the muscles are. The muscles, the muscles, the muscles, and the muscles. The muscles are muscles. The muscles are the muscles. And they go thin, and there's sinews at the bottom of the cone, and sinews there, and sinews there, and sinews there, and the same on the other side. And he's got, there's a spine, a central line down the back, which is like the spine, but it bends in any way, and Boxi is like a very simple human being. This is going to help us to draw. Okay. We're looking at him standing up. He can stand, he can change his position, he can move his hands, and he can move three-dimensionally. So and we can make him lie down and then look at him from all angles. And as he's lying down, he can change his position like that and like that. And so
can he sit up?
He can sit up. He can sit up, and he can dangle his legs like that, and now he can sit up a bit better. But his hips are a bit wobbly because they're only made of paper. And so Boxi is very versatile. He can be even better if you make him in different ways. So he can walk if you position him right. His right arm, his left leg go forward as he's walking, and then his next step, his left arm and his right leg go forward. And so he can walk with a bit of help. The body masses can be looked at from all different angles, and it's very useful. And if I turn him, if you imagine that's a body and turn him, you can walk around the body and look at the position. Very useful. Thank you. Thank you, Boxi, and his back view will show you his central line going right down to his coccyx. That's his bum. This is a photograph of Nick. Together on the side is the photograph of Boxi. Boxi has a ruler there to show his actual size. And that's Nick's head, Boxi's head. Nick's chest, Boxi's chest. Nick's hips, Boxi's hips. And 2 arms and 2 legs. Okay. Here's another photograph of Nick together with Boxi. This time he's standing, but I'm standing 3/4, seeing him at the angle. You can see the angle of Boxi's head and Nick's head. You can see Nick's nose sticking out there. And this is Nick's chest, and that's Boxi's chest. It's a bit short and leaning forwards. It should be a bit higher, and the same with his hips. And Nick's hips, you can't see them, but we know they're there. And these hips are falling forwards a bit, but they shouldn't be quite. But you can see the angle of the corner, the angle of the corner of the head, the angle of the corner of the hips. And you know that this is the same. We squared it up, and so we can now think of Nick being boxed up. And there's 1 arm there, only 1 arm visible, but 2 legs. Here's Nick lying down with his legs open and his arms open. So there's his head. You can see under his chin, you can see the beard, and that's the head of Boxi and the head of Nick just there, very, very small. That's Nick's chest, and that's Boxi's chest. That's Nick's hips, and there's Boxi's hips. These are 2 legs, and this is Boxi's 2 legs, and Nick's big feet, and 2 arms, and 2 arms. So that is how Boxi can show you the boxing of Nick, and the perspective, the way the perspective goes, the way you're looking down under these tubes there. You can actually see the wing. The wing, you're looking inside, you're looking under the tubes of all 4 limbs, and you're looking under the hips. That's the groin, and there's this little bit of string going through the whole of the 3 boxes, and that's like the spine. We call it the central line. A good way of showing you what I mean by putting boxes in to help you to draw people. I got hold of this old catalogue. Well, it's been well used. I started drawing boxes onto my my clothing catalogue. There's the hips, and that's the front, and that's the front of that one there. And so that's how I was thinking about. Here's another one I did. Box, 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 and box, box, box. That's the hips, and that's the chest. That's the chest, and that's the hips. The front of the hips, and you can see into the box a bit. But it's a bit hard to say what, because it's only a rough guide. It's just a new way of, here's one. His box is tilted, and that his hips are that way, and his chest is that way, because he's bending over. And there's that's one leg, and this is the other leg coming forward. Let's do another one. Oh, there's one. He's got a very long chest there. I think it's about that long, really. There's his chest, and here's his hips. and he's showing a little bit of that side. Not pretty well full frontal. This one's a bit sideways. You can see he's got his, that's the front of his, and then he's got his hips down there. Here's one which is a woman standing at the beach, and she's got a chest like that, and she's got the bust there like that, to her bust in as well. Her hips are like that in the front, and then her legs, you can't see her legs because she's got a long skirt on, but I've drawn them in. And here's a good one. Let me show you this one. She's got a chest like that, and it's at an angle, like, can you see the angle? And the hips like that as well. So both of them, and she's bending over. That's her central line. That's her central line, yeah, down there like that. And so I want you to just see that people aren't boxes, but you can box them up. Okay. There you are, there's one box, and there's the other box. But the box is in perspective, but it's just, don't really see a bit more of that side of the box than you do of the other side. So it's a bit like open at the bottom, and that a little bit like that. And a lady with a box, that's the front of the hip, and that's the front of the chest. And so that is the line of, you can see more of this side of the box, and then you can hardly see her right arm, but you can see her left arm. So you're seeing that side of the box. You're seeing a bit of that angle. Does that show you? And her central line is down there like that, and then her legs come out like that, and her legs come out like that. So there she is. Why don't you do that as well? Boxi is made out of cylinders, cones and cubes, and I've collected, it's a good idea to collect your own, but I've got some of each of these, and to put them in different angles so that you can get draw them in different angles so that you can see them in perspective, because you can learn by doing it. And the cone, the cylinder, you could do it like that, and then turn it at an angle and draw it like that, and you'll see one end, but you won't see into the other end. And with that you can see into that end, but you can't see into the other end. And it's a good idea to get yourself these, a collection of things, draw them, and you'll learn how to draw these cylinders, cubes and cones. You'll learn to do them in different perspectives, because that's what you really need to understand Boxi. That is my drawing of these things, and I'd like you to do the same with your collection of your things. I've suggested shadows, and they make their own shadows. You can do that if you like as well. I'm just going to pose Nick and see how the boxes will fit on Nick. So can you put your hands together and just drop them between your legs and sit up a bit better? Okay. Yes. Can you head it any higher? That's quite nice. And I have one leg facing facing me. That's good. And so that I'm seeing 3/4. I'm not full on. I'm not sideways, can't see a profile of your nose.
Oh, do you want me to move my face?
No, I don't want you to move anything. Just be as you are. Now, I'm just going to move myself into position.
And how will the boxes fit? That's what we were talking about.
The boxes. There's the chest box here. It will, the front there and the side there, so that there'll be an angle here of the, this is like, that's the front and that's the side, and it's the same with the chest. That's the front and that's the side, and I'm seeing the corner. And
tell them what you're drawing.
What I'm drawing is the front of the pelvic girdle, the front of the
hip box.
The hip box, and I'll draw it as if he's transparent. It's a good idea to draw as if a person is transparent. You can then imagine the other side, because when you're drawing, you've got to try and imagine what you can't see. You've got to know, I know that there's an ear there, and I know there's another ear about there on the other side. And so I'm going to, there's one arm, like that, there's an elbow, and another arm. You can just see a bit of that cone there, and we've got his elbow there and his elbow there, and his face. And his beard. Okay, there he goes. Now that is Nick boxed, and so he'd have shadow down there. Now this is all shadow, and this has some shadow there.
Okay, can you explain how the two things match together now? How the boxes and the cones fit? Okay.
Well, it isn't clear where the boxes come or go, but I imagine that this is his chest box there, and it goes. There's a side bit there which it's beginning to show down there, like that, and there's this cone, and then his elbow there. There's a cone there, and there's a cone there, narrowing there, and it's wider there, and you can't really see what is happening, but they're going down. His hands are, he's holding his hands, and that side there is about that angle is about like that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the front of his chest, and his hips are down here like that, and you imagine them. So now it's your turn to draw a real person. I hope you found Boxing System helping you a little in producing a good life drawing. So try and use it. Send me the results of your drawings. All your drawings have been fantastic, and that you've been sending me, and really useful to me for producing this course. I list a few books in the description below, which you may find helpful, but remember, the way to learn to draw is to draw and to keep drawing. And so, goodbye for now, and that's me and Nick and Boxi.
Jeanie, the colourful world of Jeanie. Jeanie, Jeanie, the wonderful, colourful, mysterious world, the wonderful, colourful, mysterious world, the wonderful,